Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. I hope all of you are doing well, preparing well for the upcoming Civil Services Prelims examination. This is a new initiative on Down to Earth, which will specifically cater the requirement of environment portion in the journey of civil services. This initiative or the video analysis will specifically cater the aspirant of civil services examination, specifically both for prelims and mains examination. So this session is going to be fruitful for all the aspirant. If you look at the part of the environment, it is inevitable and it is very important to understand that the contribution of environment in the overall stages of the civil services is very, very important. So this brings us to the important session of Down to Earth to help the aspirant who are actually looking for some specific video part where the environment portion is taken into consideration. So why the Down to Earth session is important, I'll give you a brief about that. What are the contents that I'm going to discuss? We'll have a snapshot of that, and then I'll proceed further with detailed analysis of the Down to Earth for the month of February. So let's get started and understand the relevance of Down to Earth in the civil services examination. And the first important question is why the Down to Earth is important for civil services examination. Either it is prelims or mains, it is going to act as a catalyzer in the overall preparation. So I'll give you why it is important, why we have come up with a new initiative on Down to Earth and how it is going to aid your overall preparation. If you look at the syllabus precisely, specifically for prelims and mains, UPSC has well documented, and this is on the syllabus part, where they have categorically mentioned about the general issues on climate change, biodiversity and environment. And this is needless to say that the point, when the questions arises, none then there's 15 to 16 question every year is going to be there from the environment section. Now the same goes for the part of mains examination, where the syllabus called for conservation, environmental pollutions, degradation and EIA, that is environmental impact assessment. So these are the two part where the syllabus categorically ask you to read it in details, and even the relevance of this particular has always in there each and every year, and the part of the environment section has always been dominating each year. Now why we are also making the impetus on coming up with the Down to Earth discussion, we have seen that the increased weightage of environment section, as I've told you, minimum you can expect 15 questions in prelims examination specifically. This can actually goes up to 23 to 25 questions. Now you can check the PYQs. I think you will be easily able to make out why the environment section is important. Now the growing importance of environment issues at the global level has also made the part of environment section more important. The environmental policies, agreement and the conservation strategies at the global level, the part of the demanding things has always been there from the environment section. So this all give you a complete sense of idea why the discussion on Down to Earth is important, the most authentic content available for the civil services aspirant. And even this is not only thing that will complete your overall environment, you need to cover this with the static part. So static along with the Down to Earth contemporary news will specifically give you a full-fledged advantage in the environment section. Now let's get started and understand what I'm going to discuss in this session. So the table of content that I'm discussing today, first we'll see some of the lead article that is relevant. So the first lead article talks about the threat to global migratory species. This was a study that was conducted under CMS. We'll see the detail to that. The slum development, specifically Dharavi and other region in Delhi and Bhubaneswar. So we'll see how the slum redevelopment has actually helped and what government need to do in this regard. Then we have a different section here called Prelims Booster, where some important news will be discussed, like New Zealand ban on PFAS in cosmetics, coral reef watch program by United States, unusual winter pattern that threatened the Himalayan region, the alarming surge in the cancer cases specifically for India. And some short news which is named as News Bites, which will specifically cater the requirement of prelims examination and many one-day examination conducted across the country or the state PCS that will be appearing for. So this is all that I'll be discussing in the entire session. So do ensure that you are tuned in to the end of this session. So let's get started with the first lead article, that is a global threat to the global migratory species. So we'll see the detail, the survey that was actually conducted. So the Convention on Conservation of Migratory Species of Animal, this is commonly known as CMS. So CMS is something, a UN biodiversity treaty that has come up with they have actually unveiled the State of World Migratory Species report. So this is something very important. The report has categorically talked about the status of migratory species, right? And where this was actually launched at COP14 in Samarkand, which is there in Uzbekistan. This was held between 12th to 17th of February 2014. Now, this is a factual information relevant for prelims and other one-day examination. You can take a note of that, right? So this was the actually platform, the global platform used to release the part of this report. Now, this report is something considered to be a comprehensive assessment on the status of the migratory species across the globe, across the world, which has given a detailed analysis of the report, the measure the part of the current status that is required. The evidence indicate the imminent threat faced by the migratory species across the globe. Now in this report, the report has been there in two appendix, right? So we'll see the appendix 1 and appendix 2, what it actually says, and some of the data that I'll be discussing with you will be relevant for the mains examination also. So what does the assessment report specifically talked about? So they have a total assessment, the number of the species that was taken into consideration was 1,189 migratory species under the CMS. What is CMS? This stands for Convention on the Conservation of Migratory Species and Wildlife Animals. So the first part, the subhead that I'm going to discuss under the assessment report is the state of migratory species under the CMS evaluation. तो CMS की evaluation में दो appendix के अंदर इन्हें जज किया गया है, the appendix 1. So this is one, the other will be appendix 2, where 180 species consist on the appendix 1 that have said that they're deemed to be untouchable by 133 CMS parties, and 82% are facing the path of extinction. Now this is again important. 82% of the total species are under the appendix 1 are facing the path of extinction, and 76%, now this data is again important, 76% shows the declining trend. So you can specifically highlight this point when you are writing in mains paper about the recent assessment that was there under the CMS for the migratory species. Now the appendix 2 comprises of 1,127 species, which highlight that 18% of them are facing extinction, 42% are experiencing the part of population decline, and 118 species are failing both categories. I mean either of them. So this is the assessment report. There are other details also that I'll be coming and discussing with you. But before that, important picture that you can then either take screenshot for your revision purposes. This is the one where 82% of the CMS for appendix 1 has been found as a global species which has threatened, and appendix 2 18%. Now other details like the global extinction risk, it is escalating for both CMS listed species as well as for the migratory species. 90% of the average decline has been there in the CMS listed fish populations since 1970. Now this is again other important fact, 58% of the monitor site under the CMS list are the species that is under the unsustainable pressure, and 399 global threatened or near threatened migratory species are not yet under the CMS list. So you can take this screenshot, or you can either pause this video, take a note of this, and you can utilize this important vital information in the mains examination also. Now coming to the other important findings of the assessment report, the other details is about the threatened taxonomic group. So in this, the IUCN, which has come up with the red list, the assessment has been revealed concerning the pattern of the threat. And it says that 70% of the CMS listed reptiles, if you look at the part, 97 are actually staggered, and 97% of the CMS listed fish are threat to extinction, right? Now this is relatively favorable to the outlook of the birds and mammals. So first, it has categorically talked about where 97% of the threatened is specifically highlighted to fish, but this goes also for the birds and mammals. 78% of the birds and 44% of the CMS listed mammals, both terrestrial as well as aquatic, are categorized as the least concern. Now this is on the part of the threatened economic growth. Now, the other highlight or the subheading under the discussion is the alarming drive force behind the decline. What are the possible reasons? See, human intervention is definitely one of the part, but the other reason is over exploitation that has emerged as the most common threat to affect 89% of the appendix 1 listed the part of the total migratory species, and 68% of there in the appendix 2 species. So this is again the important one. You need to know which one has the higher percentage. Definitely the appendix 1 has a higher percentage of the threat. Now, habitat loss, degradation, fragmentation follows closely with impacting 86% and 74% of the species respectively. So do ensure you take the note of the data that I'm discussing, because this has been actually no the gist that we're providing that will definitely aid, and you don't need to devote extra time when it comes to the part of data and other things relevant for the prelims and mains examination. Now, the impact on human activities, as I've told that human activities has always been contributing and making things more worse when it comes to the part of climate change. So, human induced pressure like agriculture expansion, infrastructure development, climate change has affected the ecosystem severely. This is the data where it actually highlight where and how the human disruptions has impacted the migratory species. So first is the over exploitations that is there, right? Then we have population at the second list, natural system modifications, climate change and severe weather, agriculture and aquaculture, invasive species and gene diseases, residential and commercial development. Then we have energy producing and mining. We have seen in the recent time the overdevelopment and the part of the mining development has also impacted the natural habitat of the individual species, right? The human intrusion and disturbance, lodging, gathering in terrestrial plan, transportations, services and other corridors part has also impacted the overall all migratory species, right, across the globe. And you can also take things into consideration specifically for India point of view. Now, what is the urgent read that has been also suggested? Some measures and suggestions are also been there. So it says that the staggering 58% of the crucial site under the CMS list has been unsustainable human cause, which has emphasis on the urgent need for the conservation measure. Definitely, the human intervention need to be drastically reduced so that the natural habitat of the species is actually maintained. The report has also called for over exploitations to reduce that, addressing and taking the part of where animal are actually taken into consideration, promoting the coordinations between the countries. See, we have all the part of the agreement. If you look at the COP part, the different COP meeting that is ongoing, there are other forum that is actually ensuring for the sustainable development of the environment. Identifying the safeguard and the key habitat as well as the restore degradation is again the essential one. You can also use this point as a way forward, right? A way forward के तौर पे भी आप इन सारे points को mains में लिख सकते हैं. Now, invoking the local communities in conservation efforts, raising awareness for all about the importance of the migratory species, and even creating a sense of responsibility and contribute to the sustainable practices for both that will benefit people as well as wildlife. They need to have a mutual coordinations between the environment, between the people or the human being, and also between the animal. So we need to have a mutual collaborations and cooperations with each other, and awareness for the local communities is going to be very significant in this regard. Now, moving ahead with the other important article, that is the slum development, where we look at the part for Dharavi, Asia's largest slum, and other details as such. So India is the with the every sixth urban inhabiting resident there in the slum has been striving for housing for all, which has become a national imperative. Now, why we are discussing this news? Because a survey was conducted, or the part of the report was there in Down to Earth, where the team from the Down to Earth has actually delved down into the initiative, where they have categorically no look into the part of the Mumbai's Dharavi, Delhi's Kathapuli colony, and Bhubaneswar, Odisha, right? So they have looked into the details where the redevelopment process, how it has actually worked, and what are the progress that has been made, and how the things can be better improved. So this was a detailed report that was specifically mentioned by the Down to Earth team. So the latest initiative in this regard by the government is the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, that is urban, was introduced in 2015, has actually come up with the comprehensive focusing on housing solution and affordable housing for all. Housing for all has actually been there one of the main motive of the central government in aiding with, and even the part of the substantial progress has been made from the state government as well. So, what is India's urban slum scenario? If you look at the data as such, the Down to Earth team has actually come up with a detailed report where they said that the State of the Environment 2019 in figures that revealed that one of the sixth urban Indian resident in the slums. So one of the every sixth urban Indian they are put up in the slums and posing challenge not only for providing the descent to life and even the quality of life, the dignity of the life of an individual is severely impacting, and even they have to actually come up with a problem like sanitation. This is the first and foremost problem. Then we have access to water, which is something, a priority, the part of the priority should be there from the government, that access to sanitation and water is very important. If these two things are not actually provided, ये हाइजीन इश्यूज भी बनती है जिसके बाद उस एरिया में काफ़ी ज़्यादा हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम्स भी आ सकती हैं. सो वी हैव टू सी ऑन द लॉन्गर रन दैट व्हाई सैनिटेशन एंड वाटर एक्सेस इज important. Now, rapid urbanization has actually exacerbated the part of situation जहाँ पे slums has actually grown by 131%, 131% से increase हुई है during 2001 to 2011 decade. Now, this is an important fact. Please take a note of this. Utilize this in the answer writing. This will give you an extra advantage in the main speed. Now, if you look at the data, the precise data which is there for the people living in the slum, this is a complete detail for entire India, specifically where the large part of the slum has been developed. If you look at Uttar Pradesh, this is the detail. Then we have West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, and Rajasthan. Either you can take screenshot or even you can take a note of the important points that is highlighted under this diagram. Now, Dharavi redevelopment project की अगर बात करें, most of you must be aware about the Dharavi redevelopment project. This was actually initiated in 2004, right? And a joint venture is there between the government and even the Adani Properties Private Limited and the state government of Maharashtra. So Maharashtra state government has made a collaboration, a joint venture. This is called as JV between Adani Properties Limited and the state government of Maharashtra. Dharavi is actually located in South Mumbai, which is spanning over 259 hectares, and it is a part where the housing is estimated for 1 billion people. Definitely, I personally feel if the project come up at the earliest, it will give more livelihood options to the other people as well. The ambitious project aims to spend 20,000 crore rupees over 7 years in the in situ rehabilitations of the core principle as a core principle. And if you look at the area, it is itself a township which has developed. Many people are actually doing their business, they have their livelihood options, their accommodations, housing, hostels, everything is there in this premises of the Ravi region, which is there in the South Delhi, South Mumbai, just to correct. So this is in the South Mumbai, and the part has been taken into consideration where the development project is there by the Adani Properties Private Limited and state government of Maharashtra. Now, कुछ government initiatives की अगर बात करें, the government assessment has been there for the project, which is safeguarding for the 5-year waiver on the GST on the business operating of Dharavi. The Dharavi redevelopment serve as a crucial test for Maharashtra slum development policy, which is a legacy over 25 years. और तेलंगाना की अगर बात करें, अपार्ट फ्रॉम द स्टेट लाइक महाराष्ट्र, तेलंगाना ने भी कुछ सैटेलाइट इन सिटू स्लम्स रिहैबिलिटेशंस की बात की है. गुजरात ने भी resettlement for the part of the colonies which is there, the slum redevelopment has been there to ensure the better connectivity. The report that was actually published by Down to Earth has also taken into consideration for the slum in Delhi and Bhubaneswar, which you don't require in detail. This Dharavi one is again important, which you can also use as a case study and the further development which is on. And moving ahead to the other section of discussion, that is prelims booster, some of the specific news that will help you in the prelims examination. Let's see each and every news one by one. So the first important, that is New Zealand banned PFAS in cosmetic. Now what is PFAS? We'll see and understand in detail. This might be pretty relevant for the prelims examination. So why New Zealand has made a ban, we'll see the detail to that as well. So New Zealand has declared a ban on PFAS in cosmetic products, that is from starting 31st of December 2026. What is PFAS? This is pre and polyfluoroalkyl substances, better known as, they are basically known as forever substances or forever chemical, which is present in our daily uses. I'll give you the details where it is specifically present. So PFAS has raised the health concern, including the potential risk to cancer. This is the one of the major threat that has been reported after the use of the PFAS, and other development issue that is emerging after a thorough research which was conducted. So the move is aligned with the New Zealand broader strategy to include phasing out of the PFAS in the firefighting foams, assessing the background for the PFAS level in the environment as stated by the Environment Protection Authority. This is an apex authority in the New Zealand. Now we'll understand why the PFAS has become very important. The part of this has actually been there in our environment and how we can reduce it. So first looking at the details where it is actually present. So it is present either in the photography part, the firefighting foams, stain reducing products, fast food packaging, non-stick cookware, paints, pesticides, shampoo, cosmetics, everywhere it is present. That is why it is known as forever chemical. So this can be again an important question for the prelim examination. Which particular chemical or substances is known as forever chemical? So you know the answer. Now, moving on, monitoring the forever chemical and wastewater. So the revised directive, which was there by the New Zealand government, they have said that they will monitor the part of forever chemicals or PFAS commonly found in the products like lipstick, which is mostly used by the women in their cosmetics, shaving cream, which is usually used by the men and other people pertaining to, the part of the cosmetic industries or the parlor industries. Now, this step is crucial to address the part of the environmental concern associated with these substances, right? Now, some other details that would require to know, specifically the factual information that you should know. So there's some of the simple way to reduce it is to limit the use of oil, water, stain, and the part of resistance product. Use stainless steel or the cast iron cookware to avoid the direct contact with the PFAS. Use of water filter designed to remove the base. It has its health repercussions. It has health effect like high cholesterol, thyroid diseases, certain cancers are evident. Even if reduced, and it can have a part of hypertension, lower birth weight, and developmental delays. As I've told you about the part of the items where it is available, commonly found in the waterproof clothes, non-stick cookware, furnitures and carpeting, personal and care products, and food packaging. So these are some of the part. If you look at the common cycle of the PFS, if you got this question in the mains examination, then you can draw this diagram roughly. If not, this is more important for the prelims examination. Now moving ahead with the other news, that is Coral Reef Watch Program. This is by the United States that have come up with the details. So the US government has come up with the Coral Reef Watch Program, a vital program for protecting the heat stress which is there for the coral reef. We know coral reef is very, very important for the marine ecosystem, and the part of the US government where Coral Reef Watch Program has come up with the three additional categories, right? They have come up with the three alert system that they have introduced under the Coral Reef Watch Program. So this category signifies the escalating temperature extreme, crucial understanding and even mitigating the impact of excessive heat on the coral reefs. So which are the alert categories that has been included by the US government? So the alert level first call for indicating the risk of multiple species and their mortality. So this is one category. The other category that has been added as an alert level is signifying the risk of the severe multiple species mortality. This is the second one. Third but not the last least, that is warning of a near complete mortality with more than 80% of the coral at risk, right? Understanding the calculated risk through the new alert categories, that is DHW measurement, is crucial for proactive coral reef conservation. Now it can be asked in prelims that DHW, right, where this measurement is used. So this is used basically to even impact and understand the part of repercussions for the coral reefs. Now कुछ calculation methodologies की अगर बात करें, what is DHW? This is degree heating week. This is measured by the accumulated heat stress faced by the coral. So this is actually taken into consideration on weekly basis, and the warning system is actually being deployed to calculate the part of total heating. For instances, 1 DHW की अगर बात करें, ये accumulate करती है almost if coral experience 1 degree temperature above the maximum for 7 days. अगर 1 degree के temperature for 7 days continue है, then this will be considered as 1 DHW. Now, if you look at the details of the image, this will help you understand some of the other trivial part which is there. So how we can have the reductions, how you can help, you have to have less striving to ensure that you are less impacting the coral, reduce, reuse and recycle, reuse the efficient applications, and even the print less, download more, and even use less water. Some of the other trivial details are actually mentioned. The climate change has drastically affected the coral reef ecosystem. You can pause this video and even comprehend the things which you feel is important for examination, like global warming is other impact, sea rise level, change in the storm pattern, change in the precipitations, adult orient the part of the ocean currents, and even ocean acidification. So this is something which is directly impacting and causing as a threat to the coral reefs. Now, moving ahead, the unusual winter pattern has been recognized in the Himalayan region. This is the evidential fact that the scientists had come up with the proof that this region is prone to the threat due to the part of unusual pattern that has been witnessed. So first and foremost, the Hindu Kush region, better known as HKH region, known for its majestic snow peak covers, has experienced an alarming deviating from its typical winter condition. Now there can be various reasons to it. There can be various reasons and assertions to it, but the main reason that has been attributed is that climate change. We'll see how it has actually impacted. So this attribute to the record-breaking global temperature that has led to the significant deficit in the snow impacting with the weightage glacial in the region. Now, HKH region is accustomed to know the part of snow accumulations, which was there for October to March, and witnessing a stark departure from the part of the normalcy which is there in the region. Now, El Nino influence on the winter weather. This is also one of the possible reason that has been actually highlighted by the expert. So, switch from the La Nino to El Nino in April, which was actually evidential, has been impacting the heat wave across the ocean, and this has also impacted the sea surface temperature. Now, this anomaly has actually weakened the delay in the western disturbance. अगर बात करें deficient in the part of winter precipitation or snowfall in HK's region was actually impacted. Now, one thing that has to be known to you, what is La Nina and what is El Nino. I'll give you a brief about it so that you can actually understand what both of them is. So El Nino is a warming ocean that has above or sea above temperatures. La Nina is above the part of simply it's called cold event, right? It's a easterly wind which is weakening or starting blowing from the opposite direction. This is a normal easterly wind that along with the equator become more strong. You can have a comparison from this. First, it was noted by the fisherman, and it is not frequent than La Nina, and it is usually the La Nina is actually in 1 in 3 years, unlike El Nino, which is usually lasting no more than an year. So these are the brief difference about El Nino and La Nina. Now, some cascading effect on the water resources. We have seen the changing pattern in the Hindu Kush Himalaya region. So the western disturbance, primarily the source of nourishment, has actually been the glacial play and crucial role in maintaining the river water hydrology. The absence of snowfall following the years below average, it is anticipated to strain the water resources, posing the threat to agriculture and ecosystem downstream. So this is how the cascading effect on the water resources is evidential. Now, what is the community concern and the need for urgent action? This can also be the way forward that even you can write in the examination how we can actually come up with this. So the Himalayan district like Nepal, Humla has voiced the concern about the potential leading to drought and even impacting the drinking water supply. जो agriculture की water level है, जो water table level है, that has also been actually been reduced. Now the urgent action call to enhance the resilience Himalayan communities to face their snow drought and have a cascading impacts. Now, in changing environment, the scientific advancement must be aligned with the decision-making process, addressing the mounting challenges faced by the HKH region, that is Himalayan, the part of the region, Hindu Kush region, which is there, right? Now, moving ahead with the other news, that is alarming surge in the cancer cases. Now, India is a country which has significantly been reported with a number of the cancer cases. We'll see the detail how the cancer cases has increased or surged in the country. So in 2022, precisely, if you look at the data, the number which is there, India stood as a third largest contributor to the new cases of the cancer globally, accompanied by the unfortunate distinctions, that is second highest level of mortality. And this is something which is a concern for government of India. We as an individual also need to be aware of the fact that what awareness need to be there, so that we can have a preventive measures to prevent the cancer. The projections for 2050, अगर बात करें 2050 की projections को लेकर के, with a almost doubling, the country cancer burden is going to increase. It will close to double with the current rate that we are having as of now. Now cancer deaths की अगर बात करें, cases, total number of cases और death की बात करें, by 2050 India is anticipated to have a staggered surge of 90% of the cancer cases with far global projections. So we can expect, as I've told you, that two times it will increase. So 90% surge is expected. By 2020, in 2022, it was expected that women has experienced slightly higher incidence of a new cancer and accounting for 51% of the total cases. जो total cases हैं उसमें 51% women की हैं. However, the harsh reality unfolds that the mortality rate has constituted in men. ज़्यादातर डेथ जो रिपोर्ट की गई है वो मेंस में रिपोर्ट की गई है. 52% जो डेथ है वो मेन में ही रिपोर्ट की गई है. Now, the state that has come up with the cases of the cancer, this is a map which will give you a precise idea. So if you look at the total India, 31.3%, this is about the details for Punjab, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Bihar, West Bengal, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, Karnataka, Maharashtra and Gujarat. Global level की अगर बात करें cancers की, India has been actually in the crisis where the global scenario has also been impacted. Projection indicate that 77% जो है वो सर्ज देखी जाएगी कैंसर के केसेस में वर्ल्ड वाइड 2050 की projections हैं, and even a doubting with 90% of the surge with relate to the cancers, right? This underlined the urgent need for collaborative efforts, चाहे वो WHO के साथ collaborations हो या कुछ और international collaboration हो, जहाँ पे हम इस तरह के burdens को जो pervasive diseases हैं उनको कम कर सकें. Now this is a graph which will give you an idea about the total number of cases that has been there. For Europe, we are 23.4. For Asia, it's 48.4. Oceania region has 1.4. Africa 5.8. The Americans has 2.1. So the maximum cases which is there. So the maximum number of the patients coming out from the Asian region itself. Now some news bites which will again help specifically for one day examination and prelims examination. We'll see the details. This is a brief type of news that you'll be able to understand. So first is the snow leopard census. The historic snow leopard census was actually conducted by WII, World Wildlife Institute of India in Dehradun, and it found that India has home to 718 variety of snow leopard, right? 718. Now, the assessment actually covered that 70% of the potential snow range in the Ladakh, basking as a high population, followed by Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, and Jammu and Kashmir. Now, the chronology is important for prelims examination. Please make sure that you check the chronology which states has a maximum number of snow leopard. Now, India has added 5 wetland to the Ramsar list. This is again a proud moment for the country, and the government of India is actually making a due proactive roles in ensuring that we are making best possible efforts to ensure the number of the list that is there increasing on the number. So the Union Minister for Environment Forest has actually said that we have added 5 wetlands to the global list on the Ramsar Convention. ये जो 5 लिस्ट हैं उसमें आप देख सकते हैं, दिस आर द लिस्ट फ्रॉम कर्नाटका, द मगई खेरी कंजर्वेशन, Askadambuda part, and the Agustasini estuary. So the pronunciation might be differ. So you check out that. But these are 3 on Karnataka, and we have Karaveti Bird Sanctuary and the Longwood Shola Reserve in Tamil Nadu. So 2 from Tamil Nadu. This is again important. From Tamil Nadu we have 2, and from Karnataka we have 3. So total of 5 list has been added to the wetland list. 5 Ramsar sites has been added. Now, mumps outbreak, this is there in the news. In Hamirpur district in Himachal Pradesh, the outbreak of mumps was reported with 35% of the cases has been there for the children age group between 5 to 10. Now this is very concerning, the viral disease. So first and foremost, the mumps is a viral disease, right? Which has a parasite and salivary gland infections and even induce fatigue, muscles, pain, swelling and cheek and jaws. So you can see something like this actually happened when the mumps outbreak take place. It was also reported in Nagpur, right? So unvaccinated children are at the most of the risk. Symptoms include like fevers, jaw swelling, and fatigue. As I've told you, the most prone age group is 5 to 10. So they need to have an extra caution for the pregnant women, because this can also be there to the newborn child. So these were all the important news for the month of February that you essentially need to know. I hope this session will definitely help you and aid you in the overall part of the preparation. We'll be coming up with the next session very soon on the down to earth. So this was all about for the session. You can share your views, do like and share to the channel if you're new to us, and subscription will also help to get other informative videos that is there in our channel. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for staying.